Hello and welcome to an extra spooky video of me building in The Sims 4. No, it's just a video. It's a haunted video though. It's not technically a haunted house, but in my heart of hearts, this house is probably haunted. Anyway, welcome to my haunted pumpkin farm build. Uh, that's it. That's the whole concept. It's a pumpkin farm, but it's haunted. Why is it haunted? You're about to find out. Um, Yes, I built this over the course of a couple days. Maybe total like 6 hours of filming. I build very quickly, I've noticed, which I think is maybe a good thing, but I just kind of noticed that. Anyway, uh, yeah, this didn't take super long to come together. It just kind of happened. Uh, it's probably because I physically drew out exactly what I wanted multiple times, maybe during class once or twice. I won't say. And I just knew exactly what I wanted going into it, which is really good. And honestly, something that I'm glad I do because if I didn't, I would feel very lost, and these videos would be way longer and way less entertaining, and not just on your end, but my end as well. So yes, my idea here was a farm that primarily grows pumpkins, and also it's haunted. And that's it. It's very simple. I didn't actually give this the haunted house lot type. I could have. I didn't. Um, I honestly forgot. I forgot, like, okay, I actually didn't forget a lot of things, which I'm really proud of, because sometimes I'll just forget things I want to put in somewhere, like in a build, until I'm recording this, or like, it's like a couple days later and I'm thinking, oh, I gotta go record the voiceover, and I'm just like sitting to myself like, damn it, I forgot something. But this one, I think the only things I forgot were the haunted house lot type, and because it's a farm, I was thinking, oh, I can patch it a scarecrow. He's thematically relevant, and I didn't. And I was like I was like getting ready for bed one night, and I was like, damn it, why didn't I put patchy? Anyway, I feel like if you download this, you might want to put a patchy just because like there's a decent amount of farming going on this lot, and maybe you'll want some help. But that's also what children are for. And which brings me to which brings me to a bit more about this house. This is a three-bedroom, two-bathroom house at about 80,000 ish simoleons. Um, it's sort of modeled after a house that I saw in real life one day, but I tried to incorporate some principles of New England barn architecture, as I am from New England, and everything I build must be New England themed. So, in particular, I was thinking of something that I actually read about in an architecture class I took a while ago. And it is a children's rhyme that goes big house, little house, back house, barn. And maybe there's other lines. I don't know. This was not one of my children's rhymes growing up. I don't think I really had any rhymes. That's not true. I'll talk about my children's rhymes growing up later. They weren't good rhymes, but okay, they were either really good rhymes or really bad rhymes. Anyway, back to the house. I was kind of going based off of that sort of design philosophy, not design philosophy, but like convention, because this is very much like vernacular architecture, just like a specific type of architecture that exists in a specific place just because it is so necessary to the conditions of living in that place. So, um, in New England, you'll see in a lot of barns, a sort of like a lot of farmhouses, some of them, a decent amount, a sort of L shape where you'll have the big house, which is like your space where you would invite people over, kind of domestic space. So like your living room, your dining room, your parlor, and then above that you would have maybe like your bedrooms or whatever. And then your little house would be your kitchen and like things where or like places where you wouldn't invite people but would still be considered part of like the domestic space in the home, but parts of the home where you would be working. And it's sort of separating work from relaxation and work from entertainment through physical spaces and not just like the vague idea of the space the way you might see in like more modern homes. Um, so that was the little house. The back house would be sort of like a storage mudroom place with some working going on, and then the barn would be like the primary place for doing work in this house. So that's sort of what I was thinking. where I do have a big house where you would where it's just like a living room and a dining room. It's like if you have people over, you invite them here. The little house is connected to or yeah, the little house is connected to the back house, and they kind of serve the same function in this particular house, where it's like the kitchen, and then there's a little mudroom next to it, and I also end up having that little pass through with that closet. That becomes a quote unquote office. Really, I just put like a desk and a computer, and that's it. But there's the sort of little house in the back house to being like the kitchen and this really big mudroom space where I feel like it's a farm. You're gonna get dirty. You come in, kick off your boots, and it's also all tiled, like kind of stone tile type deal, as opposed to being wood or God forbid carpet. That said, carpeted kitchens, I kind of want to try that one day. Just like okay, I want to make like the most cursed build ever. Um, I don't know when it's gonna come out, but you've been warned basically. Um, as they say in Goosebumps, viewer beware. You're in for a scare. And oh boy, is that scare coming. It's not a threat, that's a promise. Um, but no, so like the little house and the back house are like that kind of kitchen and bedroom area. They're all tiled. They're places where like you're going to be doing work, you're going to get a bit dirty, but not like places where it's going to be like the primary location for work and where you're not going to be like bringing people to entertain either. But I'm thinking like if you have kids, you come in through like the side door, the back door, whatever, and like that's where you'd hang out with like a couple of your friends because your parents would be like, no, you can't go in the living room. Because I also feel like this is sort of not quite like a specifically period piece, but like period piece, whatever. This isn't like specifically like supposed to explicitly take place in an older decade, but it gives me the kind of vibe of like when you go over to your friend's house and your friend's parents, or like even just like the whole idea of like having a house where there is like a formal space for adults, and then when the kids are there and they're hanging out, or like when you're hanging out as a family, or when like you're hanging out with your friends when you're in like middle school, instead of hanging out in like a formal space where the adults hang out, you would just hang out somewhere else, like the kitchen or whatever. And I feel like that's definitely a thing that I experienced, like not in my house growing up, because my house was not large enough to facilitate that kind of division of like adult entertaining and child entertaining. It really wasn't. It was really like three rooms downstairs, and then we added on a fourth room. But the only way to get to that fourth room was by going through the other three rooms. So that was just where like I would hang out with my friends, but we'd still have to go through like my living room or whatever. But this is definitely something that like I kind of wanted to explore, and I thought would be interesting to have like this older style house with this older style division of spaces as well. And then lastly, I've been many places in this rant. Um, and then lastly is the barn, which is the primary location in which you're going to be having work done. It is going to be like the working space, and it is also going to be closest to the main agricultural center, which in this case is just this little kind of fenced off section right there. So, um, I'm sorry, losing my thoughts for a second. So in New England, like the idea of the kind of farmhouse is more so you would have an L shape where you'd have big house, little house, back house, all one after the other, and then at back house you kind of have an L where the barn is next to it instead. And that's I had like a book about this of the same title, Big House, Little House, Back House, Barn, that I read for a class. I read part of it, and it talked about that and like the history of that and like why is that and that kind of thing. I didn't read a lot of it. I'm really bad at doing assigned readings, but whatever. Anyway, house is coming together. I kind of didn't talk about most of it, but yeah, it has kitchen, living, dining, all the necessities. Yeah, this has been kind of like the most incoherent rambling of like a voiceover I've ever done, but I feel like that's just how I exist as a person. I just been kind of like this the past couple days. I am getting enough sleep actually. I am fine. It's just I don't know why I've been so excitable lately because I was like this last night. I was talking to some friends and I just was like I was tweaked out. I don't know what's up with me. But yeah, so here was the main pumpkin growing area where I was thinking like this is where they grow all their pumpkins and they're super proud of them. And I was also kind of like imagining the haunted part comes in with the pumpkins. So I made this a three-bedroom house thinking it was two adults and their two children. Um and the kids, I don't know if they're like child or teenager. I was thinking one's like a child, one's like a teenager. the two kids, um, what I was imagining is like they go to like the local school or whatever, and they're kind of bullied because they live on a haunted pumpkin farm, and everyone makes fun of them for that. I don't know. I'm thinking like Goosebumps type vibes, and so everyone makes fun of them for that, and they're like kind of outcasts, and eventually maybe there's like a new kid in town or something who is like, oh, why does no one talk to those two kids? And everyone else is like, oh, it's because they live on a haunted farm. They're creepy. Don't talk to them. And I was thinking maybe that kid does talk to them, and they're like, no, it's not haunted. What? No, why would it be haunted? That's so weird. No. And then eventually it's like, oh, I'll go hang out with you guys. And like they go over and they're like, no, this isn't haunted. This is chill. And they're like, you should invite more people out here. This is kind of cool. Maybe they'll realize you're cool or whatever. And they're like, yeah, that's a good idea. And so one night, like for Halloween or something, they're like, oh, we're gonna like invite people over to like come pick pumpkins and hang out at the pumpkin farm and stuff. It's gonna be like a Halloween thing. And like they get people to come over, and that's when it turns out that the rumors were correct. This is a haunted pumpkin farm. And I don't know what the like haunted thing is gonna be. I was thinking they turn the other kids into pumpkins, and they're like, "Oh, this is how we get our pumpkins. This is what happens to trespassers and people who disrespect us." Or it could be like actually ghosts, and like the ghosts embody the pumpkins and like use the pumpkins as vessels to like move around and become pumpkin ghosts or something. I like it, as you can tell. I don't know how much sense it's making, but I like where this is going. Yeah. So I don't know. I was thinking I was really getting goosebumps vibes from this place. I don't know why. I think okay, I know why. It's because the other night I saw Goosebumps the musical in concert. It was very fun. Um, I should explain. When I say in concert, I mean like they didn't stage a full production. They had just the actors performing their parts, stationary basically. It was just like to hear the performance rather than to see the performance. But it was really fun. It was really good. It was just like a local theater. It wasn't like a super big budget thing, but it was a great time, and I had a lovely time at Goosebumps the musical in concert. Yes, and that's why Goosebumps has been on the mind for like the past 3 weeks. That and it's October, and like it's Halloween season, and I'm very into Halloween. Halloween is indeed one of my favorite holidays. I very much like it a lot, and I never build for Halloween, so I'm really glad I did something this year because, like, I will build for Christmas typically, just like because I'm home, I have nothing to do. I started this tradition a couple years ago where, like, I make some gigantic, aggressively Christmas themed build, and then like I send it to my friends, and they're like, "Oh, this is cool as hell." No, I might do that this. I think I'm gonna do that again this year, and like I'll share it with the broader world out there, aka the two people who listen to these and then don't tell me because I think these all have 0 views, but whatever. I'm having fun. That's what counts. But yeah, so I usually don't do something for Halloween like this. Also, because like it's the middle of the school year and I'm really busy, and like I've had like in the past 3 weeks, I think like 5 or 6 exams. A lot of yeah, 5 exams and a concert, 2 concerts in fact. Um, So I've been really busy lately, and that's why I usually don't build stuff in October because I don't have time and I have a lot of assignments to take care of, and I really wish that wasn't the case. And hopefully it soon won't be the case because I graduate this spring, and I'm really hoping that once I graduate and get like a full-time job, I have like a much more predictable work-life balance as opposed to this where it's a lot of like bringing what is essentially my work home with me in the form of homework, and I just cannot wait to like have my job end when I clock out and not have to like bring it home with me. Like the only thing I bring home is like myself and like a joke someone told me in the break room. Oh man, that's the dream. That's what's got me excited for like adulthood and graduation. That and okay, I've been thinking of all these things that like I'm so excited to have when I graduate. My own kitchen, my own bathroom, mayhaps even my own laundry room, because the college dorm situation for all three of those kind of sad. As in, the kitchen at my dorm is like a closet that they just stuck a stove into. Um, I I think there's sort of a range to it. I don't know how well it works. Um, there's no um, there's no ventilation. I don't think. there's no windows or anything. So you're in this like tiny little unventilated room working with like a stove. And there's like a stove and a microwave and like a couple of vending machines. And if you need a sink, first of all, if you're having a fire, there's a fire extinguisher right outside, luckily. But if you need a sink, the sink is down the hall in the laundry room, which is not food rated. So you can't dump food down there. You can just like dump water and wash your dishes in there. But you also have to contend with all the people doing their laundry. So it kind of sucks. And also, I do share a bathroom with about 20 people. And not all of those people respect the sanctity of keeping their bathroom clean. But you know what? That's not my place to judge. Because, hey, everyone comes from somewhere different. And we do our best to accommodate each other. And I am slightly annoyed, but whatever. Anyway, anyway, that was a lot. But yes, so I haven't, I've barely talked about like the actual like content of this build, which and sometimes life's like that. But here we have the first of the kids' rooms. I wanted to go kind of hardcore with all of like the kind of like bluey, greeny color tones. I feel like those are also those are reflected in like the wallpaper and the carpet. I also wanted carpet in all the bedrooms. I wanted this place to look disgusting. I think the carpet was haunted. Carpet in all the bedrooms and stuff. I ended up making that little shelf where I put a bunch of model trains. I thought that was cute. I love putting model trains in houses, and then like putting them up like along the wall or like along the mantle or something, or like in that little kind of curve like that. It's very fun, and I really hope it doesn't interfere with gameplay. And then the other kid's bedroom, I was thinking first. I was thinking the first one was for like an 11-year-old, like like a very young preteen or like an older child. This one I was thinking for like a teenager, like 15-ish, someone who's kind of coming into their own and kind of forging their own identity, but is also like very much still beholden to the expectations and rules of their parents, which, to be fair, that's just defining the teenage experience right there. But whatever. So I wanted to go for something with a bit more of like that kind of warmer color, those kind of warmer colors, without necessarily being the darker neutrals of the rest of the house. So it's lighter and warmer, whereas the other room is lighter, but also kind of cooler. And then, of course, the parents' bedroom really matches in with the colors of the rest of the home. And I think that's fitting because like they decorated this place as much. I assume this is their style to some extent, and also I just like the green bed. I think it's cute. I'm here for it. And then I added a bonsai tree to this room. I don't really know why. I really was just like panicking, like trying to add like some skill activity in here because I wanted both kids' rooms to have some sort of skill associated with them. So the blue room has like a notebook and also like that really shitty little robot. So I'm thinking maybe this is a kid who failed science class, which I mean, no judgment there, except yes judgment. I didn't fail science class. I am in a science major. But and then the other one, I was like, oh, they gotta have something. I ended up giving them just an easel towards the end of the build. I don't even think that's something that I recorded, but whatever. And then finally, we're here to the barn. This is like where the spooky stuff happens. I wanted all of these like big orange stains. At first, like when I was first conceptualizing this, I was thinking, what if I just put blood stains everywhere? And it was like, wait, I thought this was the vegetable farm. And they're like, oh no, not those kind of vegetables. Oh, that was dark. I'm sorry. But like, I was thinking this was like a kind of suspicious farm of like, yeah, there's like a this big barn that like people go into and then sometimes don't go out of. We'll get into that in a second. Uh, so I wanted like a bunch of big, like kind of reddish orange stains everywhere, and I was I was also thinking that's like mess from like getting all the pumpkins and stuff, like wrecking all the pumpkins and whatnot. Wrecking the pumpkins? What am I talking? I don't know. I'm like kind of out of it, but I'm also kind of always out of it. And so I just wanted a bunch of stains and like also just like some water damage and stuff. I really like how this turned out. I thought this was like sufficiently like unnerving, at least from like my perspective. Which, to be fair, slightly skewed because I want it to look unnerving, so I'm going to tell myself, yeah, it's unnerving or whatever. But I do like how it turned out, and I like how I was able to put like little details in here as well. And I don't know, this I'm not gonna say this is like my favorite farm I've ever done because I do have one other farm that I did that like was years ago and I'm still really proud of it even though it's like several years old. But this of like the farms I've done recently, which is not many, is still one of my favorite. But yeah, and then here I just decided to make a little basket of pumpkins. which was just way too much effort for something that no one's really going to appreciate. And if you get this, either your Sims are going to start playing with the pumpkins and just like ruin all of my hard work, or you're going to delete it because you don't want it. And like, I won't blame you, but please don't, please don't. I spent so long on this, but yeah, because I was thinking like they pick the pumpkins, they got to put them somewhere, or this could be like the aftermath of like the kids like invited over like all the kids that they don't like from school, and they're like, yeah, this is all of our classmates who were like mean to us or whatever. We turned them into pumpkins, or even like I don't know, because I feel like if I go for the pumpkin ghost thing, that would have to be out in the pumpkin patch. But whatever. I had a lot of fun making this, and I guess that's what really counts. And I just kind of put it over in the corner because I imagine you don't really need to like have your basket of pumpkins front and center. I wouldn't know. I've never lived on a pumpkin farm before, much less a haunted pumpkin farm. But yeah, that's essentially all I did for like the sort of like back house kind of mudroom area. Was it really was just like a couple of items at there, like the foraging table, a bench so you can kick off your shoes. I totally could have put like a whatchamacallit, one of those big like shelves where you put your coats. But I just didn't think of it, and I would rather have put the cleaning supplies that I ended up putting, and like the little shelf with like the watering can and stuff. I really like how that looked. And then finally we're getting to the kitchen. I like this kitchen. I really like this kitchen. I think it's good shape, good size, and also I just like the detail I put into it. I ended up we're not at it quite yet, but I ended up putting yeah that a cutting board with like vegetables on it. So I was thinking like someone was in the middle of preparing dinner, and that's just the moment where this house was frozen in time. So I put, unfortunately, no pumpkins, but like a couple things on there. I was tempted to put like a knife and like a stew pot, but I couldn't find any that would transfer to the gallery, so I didn't. Um, I did put a pot on the stovetop though. I just didn't want to like put two of the same thing like right next to each other, so I didn't. And yeah, I just put like some carrots and some potatoes and some spinach there. So I feel like that could definitely be like a nice hearty stew. Um, I didn't put any meat, but like this is giving me beef stew vibes, and I think I'm just saying that because I really, really like beef stew, and also I haven't eaten lunch and I'm kind of hungry. But but yeah. Anyway, I think. Oh wait, not now. I'm sorry. I'm not sure where we are in this, but soon we're gonna get to decorating the pumpkin patch itself, which was definitely one of my favorite parts of this build because it was just like a bunch of pumpkins, and it was. I feel like it's really what defines this space. Whereas like the rest of the space, it could just be like any sort of generic farm, but that really defines this as like a pumpkin farm. And then like the haunted, I kind of dropped the ball on, but I feel like there's some sufficiently creepy things in here. I do put some more creepy stuff besides just what I was talking about in the barn. And I feel like even if it's not like explicitly like decrepit and like the walls ooze blood kind of haunted, there's still like something creepy going on here. And I think the creepy vibe is really like what I was trying to go for with this place. Not so much like the ghosts actively live here, like it's abandoned or anything. Because I didn't really want to make this abandoned. I felt like that wasn't like as exciting as storytelling with this kind of setting. Anyway, for the pumpkin patches, there was like three main pumpkin patches, and then all the other gardening plots that I put, or like the rows of crops rather. Those are all completely functional. I filled them with actual pumpkins in the game, and so when you download this build, you would get them with pumpkins planted there, but not like full grown because I did not have the patience to make full grown pumpkins. I had to do screenshots for this like 4 different times. And you also may be noticing I'm building in like eternal summer mode. I should have built this in autumn. I just forgot. I don't like building with Sims on the lot. It's kind of annoying. But at some point when I was doing the screenshots, I was like, oh, I'll go do those again, but in autumn. And I did that, and there was like no difference. And I was super annoyed, but it did let me get like slightly later at night screenshots, and I did get some fog coming in, so it does look very creepy. Also, this is in Moonwood Mill, which I like this world. It's not a lot, but like it doesn't have to be. It's just kind of cool and creepy, in a way that like Forgotten Hollow doesn't let you be, because Forgotten Hollow is like the downtown of a creepy place. This is like the out in the middle of nowhere creepy place, and I really like that. Like Forgotten Hollow and Moonwood Mill are two parts of like a town I would drive through in the middle of the night, frantically trying to get home, but getting lost because I can't follow a GPS. Or like one time a couple summers ago, um, I was working a closing shift at work, and I also needed to pick my mom up from the train station because she had just taken the. I think she just like flown home. No, she'd taken the train home and then taken public transportation to the train station near our house. And I was like, "Oh, I'll just pick you up after work," because she was getting in really, really, really late, and I was working really, really, really late. But there was like a massive storm that night, and so like I was like, this isn't good. And she was like calling me frantically, like, you don't have to come pick me up. You don't even have to drive home. Like, find a hotel or something. And I was like, no, I'll be fine. And like, I was fine. I'm here today, and I'm telling this story. So, but no. So I got out of work at like 11 o'clock or something because it was at Lowe's, and like Lowe's closes pretty late. And then for employees, we stay past close just to like finish up like getting the store closed up for and like set for the night shift people. And so I left the store. It was still raining really hard at this point, and um, I drove down the highway. And at some point, I got off at like the wrong exit or something. Yeah, because I was gonna take the highway all the way from the Lowe's to the train station to pick up my mom, because technically that works. And then at some point, I forget why, I got off the highway. I think I made like I got off like at the wrong exit or something, and I was on like a different highway, and I was like, oh fuck. And so I was in like these back streets in the middle of like the pouring rain at like 11 p.m. with no lighting and just desperately trying to make my way home. That's what Moonwood Mill is to me. And then Forgotten Hollow would be when I finally got to like more established roads, like to like the town library of this town, because I knew the town, I just don't drive there often. So that would be like the Forgotten Hollow of like driving through like this town. It's like an old town. It's like a very established town, so it's got like old vibes. But like driving through a town in the middle of the night, desperately trying to get home in the middle of the rain, or like more recently, I went out to do karaoke with my friends, and we got back at like 1 a.m. And me at 1 a.m. trying to drive through my hometown, but with like a bunch of downed power lines because there was this awful storm the night, like while we were in the karaoke place. And like I dropped off all my friends, and then I had to drive across town to get home. It was really bad. And like the whole way there, it was like super sus vibes, and like I saw like the emergency crews like fixing downed power lines, and I was having to take all these like back streets to get home and stuff. It was a lot. But yeah, that's Forgotten Hollow. Moonwood Mill is picking up my mom from the train station at 11 p.m. and taking a wrong turn and having to drive through like the back streets. Yeah, so fun story. I just had to like restart the recording just then because I've been having this weird thing happen where when I'm trying to record and I get to like the 20 something minutes mark, the program just freezes, and it's really annoying because like it's almost at the end of the recording. But whatever. Here I was just finishing up some landscaping. I found an item in I believe Live Edit that with the Better Build Buy was tagged as Devil's Club. I don't think it's tagged like that in the game itself probably, but I got really excited about that just because like I know Devil's Club. That's a real life plant. It doesn't I don't think it actually looks like that, but like I was very excited to see it, and I was like, I gotta do this. This is like fitting with the vibes. And then here we're finally getting to that little back spot, and, like the moment I've been waiting for this whole time, and what really makes this like a creepy place. Get ready. At first I had to put like some dirt around because I was like, I want this place to be dirty, and like I wanted it to look like the truck drives through here a bunch. Anyway, uh, oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Get ready for it. Um, okay, I'm gonna spoil it. Cow plants. I put up two cow plants back there, and I was like, yeah, they invite people over to the pumpkin farm, and it's people they don't like, and they're like, oh, you wanna come to the back? And they come bring them to the back, and they feed them to the cow plant. It's great. I love it. It's my favorite thing. It's very goosebumps. And then here is I think I mentioned this a while ago. It's been a long day. I put a little office, and that was it. It was just a cute little office where I felt like they could just do any sort of like not administrative work, but like they could like sort out their finances and just like email people and whatever. And then there was me doing like a final check around the building. That's something I tend to do. I try to cut that out as best I can because it really is just me zooming around the lot a bunch. And here I finally put the cow plants, my babies, and I was so excited for these. Anyway, the videos. Oh, we're not quite at the end yet, but yeah. Okay, so I put some garbage cans. I ended up putting a mailbox. I don't think I include that because towards the end, it was really just like me, like frantically having this scatterbrain moment, just like checking around the whole lot. But here we're finally at what like close enough to the end. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this pumpkin farm. Have a nice, safe Halloween. Or don't. But if you don't tell me. And yes, and with that, I say goodbye.